Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, introduce the guest, man.
Today, we have a very special guest. We have John, the Bunkrana banger, Hutchinson. John, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks, guys. How's things back there?
John, we're doing absolutely fabulous. Just let me set the scene for you this weekend. 5 belts, 4 champions, 3 title fights, 2 lads from Dublin doing a podcast, 1 legendary night. How does that sound?
Yeah, where else would you get it? You wouldn't get it nowhere, would you? Huh?
Yeah, so guys, for those of you who don't know, John is actually Piotr Jan's boxing coach. So, John, tell us, how the hell did that come about?
It was about 3 years ago in Thailand, in Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket. And I was over there on a training camp myself, actually. I've always went over and back to Thailand, but I moved to Tiger Muay Thai. I was training the guy there, just helping him out. And Peter, I think it was his first UFC fight. He hurt his foot, I knew it, Peter. I've always followed him. He was just going into the UFC at that time. And he came up and spoke to me. I was training the guy. I said, "Hello, coach." And to be honest, that time I wasn't really fully coaching, I was still fighting. He's like, can we do some pause? I was like, what's pause? In Russia they call pads pause, And what I replied,
That's understandable, isn't it? Like very Russian.
Yeah. Well, they do like the Bears over there, so maybe like the Bears hold the pads over there.
So I said, yeah, sure, no problem. And then he didn't know what I said, and he hadn't a word of English. And the two of us just laughed, And but it was funny. I think we worked that day, just like a small bit of work, and he's a very smart guy. I was trying to get across a few things to him, and I just went from there. I went home that night, and then I had a post on Instagram from him, and it was like, hello, Coach, when we work next, and just bit by bit, then, he had his fight then in Singapore in his debut, and nobody knew, he hurt his foot and all, so that's why we really worked on his boxing from that. And I just went from there, so I did.
And were you in his corner for that fight, John?
No, because I was only to start to get to know him that time, and it just bit by bit, it just got more and more hands-on. And then at the time, I was actually still fighting a bit. So I remember I was going away. I think I was fighting in Australia, or I got a fight off in Australia. And I was going to Australia to fight. And next thing I got a text from him, he was like, hello, Coach, I'm going to Tiger Muay Thai for camp. We'll be there. We got this guy. Then I was like, I've got to think about this, because I was actually, I love fighting, but I was actually enjoying the coaching as well, And then I was like, it just got a hold of me. I was like, yeah, I want to, this guy would just you go home at night just excited. You just knew how dangerous it was going to be, Yeah. So that was it. We went back then, we just started to work from there and just got more and more of a role, So then.
And is the Bunkrana banger no more? Are you full-time coach now, or will we still see you get into the squared circle one more time?
No, I'm just fully coaching now. This food in Vegas, I know I'll never see my weight again. That's for sure. But I found out when I was still coaching, I was still kind of fighting. It doesn't work out. It's one or the other. You're given 100%, and you soon find out that, it's a hard choice at the start to choose, but you soon find out. I actually had to ban myself from punching a bag or hitting the pad, because I started to hit the pads because I like training, a bit of fitness, Yeah. And I'd start hitting the pads and I'd feel good again. Next thing I was calling out people, and not calling out people, but I was messaging this guy, can you organize me a fight? And then I was getting other guys to train. And, at the start it was a bit weird because people was calling me coach. And I'm thinking, I'm not really a coach yet, but I soon
they probably saw it in you.
Yeah, and then I just put my head down, I wasn't long in Tiger Muay Thai, and they offered me a full-time job there. They said, look, John, would you like to stay here? We want you to look after the boxing offer. I said, yeah, and if he's ever been to Phuket, sometimes you have to come over, guys. It's like a dream for fighters, you know.
Yeah, it looks
I think,
unbelievable.
I think it's on the bucket
Yeah.
list, Basmo, isn't it?
Yeah, literally and figuratively speaking. Also, I need to get my ass whooped in Phuket. It's already happened over in Mexico, so like, let's go to another continent, you know?
Boys, when it gets back to normal, come over. He's more now. We'll look after you over there. You know, you will love it. See,
When did you first go over, John? Because obviously, if people aren't aware, Buncrana is Donegal in Ireland, and then you moved to Thailand, and then you just seem to be living the dream there.
Yeah, so I actually went my first trip there. I was 20 when I was going to Australia. I just stopped for a couple of nights, and the strangest thing was, you know, and the strangest thing was, I said to my friends, you know, I'm gonna live here, guys. You know, we were joking about it at the time, and then bit I went back, and then I think I was 24. Went back for a long training camp, and I really fell in love with it. And I just, because I was fighting everywhere, you know, I was actually like living everywhere, like Spain, America, you name it. But I've always came back to Thailand for a few months at a time, and then I've basically been there about 4 years full time living now. You know, I haven't moved, so I finally settled down a bit.
Set up them roots, and then like obviously we were just talking about Peter is fighting this weekend. Like, when was the first time you cornered him? Because looking through his record, like obviously he's coming off a win against Jose Aldo to become the champ, but like he obviously fought your other favorite Jimmy Rivera, who just had an unbelievable fight over the weekend. John Dodson, former challenger for the belt. Like, when was the first time you actually cornered Peter?
So I got really serious, you know, when with the Dodson fight and Riviera fight. You know, I remember saying to him, I said, make sure I was trying to push that fight with Riviera. I said, it's made for you know. And bit by bit his English got better. And then I went over, went over his first fight with Uriah Faber, and then Aldo, and now this one, you know. So it was hard at the start, you know, because we needed like a translator, you know. But now his English is really good, especially if you can understand me, anyways, you know.
He sounds fluent. He sounds like he has a bit of a Donegal twang to him. Ross, what do you think of that?
Yeah. What's it called? Let me think. He sounds like he's from Guidor.
Yeah.
Peter O'Rian is Anab Dum.
Peter O'Donnell, Daniel O'Donnell's cousin, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, stop.
But come here, Johnboy. Like, how long did it take for you to really see what you've taught Peter to become in his striking? Like, when did that really when could you see it come to fruition as well?
You know, Peter has a good boxing background. You can see that. You know, it's a different style, the Russian style. They're very swinging, big long hooks, you know, knuckles down. You know, a lot of them hurt the wrists, you know. But the hardest way to explain was it was like a dynamite. The guy's bouncing up and down, you know, and was like what I really focused on was like settling him down, like sitting on them shots and like getting some actual power in the shot, you know. That was the hardest thing, getting the guy to settle down a bit. But now it's transition. I'm telling you, he's one of the hardest hitting bantamweights out there. Like, this guy's power is lethal, you know. So he look at Jose Aldo. You could hit that man with a baseball bat, you know, and he knew about it the first round, you know, straight down the pipe, and it was a long night for him in there, you know. So
that was an absolutely epic fight, and it was a great story to it as well. The Aldo fight as well, just because Piotr had been over to Brazil and he trained with Aldo before what's called sort of previous in previous years, and like it was, you know, the young up and comer looking to capture his first UFC title, and it was, you know, the wily veteran looking to claim a belt in the second weight class. It was such a good fight. You know, it was on Foyle Island, and you know, you always sort of guess when you see people have trained together who got the better of who in the training room. You know what I mean? But then obviously there was a few years past, and look, I just look at Peter Yan and just go, who's actually going to stop that guy? Because he looks like he has no quitting him. He's relentless from bell to bell, and I'm not surprised he's UFC champion.
The man, as you nailed it, is relentless. You know, I'd say this has been my hardest camp win because with Aljamain, you know, he's very tricky. Like, he's waiting for Peter like to overreach, overcommit. He's going to shoot inside or slip inside and take him down, you know. So can you imagine a guy that just wants to take your head off? Like, and I mean, hits with intentions. Like it's holding him back. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, 2 or 3 punches max, we just like pop shotting and like it's gonna come, but I'm trying to like just hold him. It's like walking a fight dog. I'm just holding him back, It's the hardest thing ever.
And John, let me ask you about that, because obviously, there's no secret to Aljamain Sterling's game plan against everyone. He's looking to take your back and ride you like a back to pack till either you quit or the round ends. What's it like going in fighting someone with that style, and what has Peter done to change the game plan? Because obviously he doesn't want to change his style too much either for his opponent. He wants to still implement his own game plan.
This is great. I had said to Peter, this fight is a fight that I say makes you, this is where you make a real statement. He hasn't really got to show his ground game, even though we don't want to show it in this fight. We want to stand up as much as possible. Peter's ground game is really up there. As I say, we don't want to mix it with this guy, but he's really going to get mix it up here and show he's not just a boxing striker. He can adapt to any fighter. He's got
what his ground game. Sorry for interrupting. What his ground game sort of resemble that sort of Dagestani style that we're accustomed to seeing with Khabib or even Chimaev.
Yeah, he's been in them camps in Dagestan and all. These guys. He's learned an awful lot there. I wouldn't even worry about too much about the wrestling. It's the BJJ part that's taking his back and all. As you say, we're going to keep him off his back. But there in the ATT, there's a coach there that's helped us a lot. Perumpa, a Brazilian guy, his BJJ is next level. He works with Pedro and all them guys, and them, how good their ground game is, Peter's ground game is, it's up there. As I say, we don't want to show it, but we're comfortable, Sure.
Yeah, well, in fairness, he did fight good wrestler in Jimmy Riviera, and he was able to get the job done against him. So, look, I think if Aljamain Sterling can get the takedown in this fight, he is an advantage, but it's not an easy feat. And once Petr Yan keeps him on the feet, and that's where the fight starts, Aljamain Sterling is in trouble for 25 minutes.
When Aljamain gets hit once, it's gonna shell up. He's gonna be in some shock, and he's open. He's a pop shot. He throws single long. He's very awkward, but the best thing is he's been working on his boxing, and as I said to Peter, the more he works on it, the better. He's gonna get that like false confidence, and the worst thing you can do is stand with Peter. So it is.
Well, it hasn't worked out for anyone else yet, so I don't see it working out for Aljamain Sterling. Although he is definitely probably the most unique talent in the 135-pound division. I don't think anyone else offers that level of jiu-jitsu and unique. They don't call him the Funk Master for nothing, put it that way.
No,
it is a funky style.
He's fully deserving of being the challenger for the title. This is the creme de la creme we're talking about here, which is it's mad to believe. I think it's just the Irish mentality we sort of have. We're sort of like, maybe, but like realistically, like you're doing amazing things, John, and then myself and Ross got that massive push in the UFC this week. It's just, but like at the end of the day, you go back to your roots. You sort of.
Oh, you know what? You know what's even gas, right? We're, I don't know, 20 minutes into the podcast or 15 minutes into the podcast, and we haven't even mentioned that we featured on the UFC 259 countdown show. I just want to say a quick thanks to everyone who did actually shout us out and everyone who messaged over. The phone was hopping. It was, a real honor to be featured on such a massive production and by, the pinnacle of MMA across the world. So, big shout out to UFC Countdown guys for including us, and hopefully it'll be the first of many to come.
Yeah, and we also made our debut on the video with the one and only the Buncrana. What did you say? Buncrana
banger.
Buncrana banger.
Banger.
I was thinking of the Buncrana Mana. That's what I was thinking.
Well, look, Baz, I come up with nicknames for fighters that don't have them all the time. So, like, you can just rename Johnboy there, no bother.
I'm sorry. It was just, I thought it had a good ring to it. But like, that's good. Will we get into the card itself, or which way do you want to start? Obviously, we're talking about the bantamweight fight now, but do you want to start at the top and then we go through, or what way do you want to look at things?
Oh, I think whichever way you want, Basmo. You normally you run the show.
Well, okay. Well, Johnboy only agreed that we to come on so we could talk about Jan Blachowicz.
Congratulations, guys, as well. great work you're doing, you know.
John, thanks a million, man.
Thanks, John.
Like we've been following
Appreciate
each other for a while, so it's cool to finally get up to your level. We'll be sitting at the master table in
The big boy table.
The big boy
Yeah.
table. Okay, lads, let's get into it. If you are new to the show, make sure to like and subscribe and let us know what nickname you like more, the Buncrana Mana or the Buncrana
Banger.
Buncrana Banger. Okay, here we go. In the main event, right, Jan Blachowicz is defending this title in the UFC light heavyweight division. He's taking on Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion. Israel Adesanya looking to become champ. Lads, we may as well start with the challenger first, Israel Adesanya. Johnboy, what do you make of Israel Adesanya's striking game?
Yeah, I love Israel. It's that kickboxing, fast pace. He's elusive, very good mover, you know. I believe he's going to be too fast, a bit too slick, you know. But the Polish powerhouse, you know, you can't underestimate his power. You know, he's going to be in his face at times, you know, so he's going to have to dig deep. But I believe that Israel will... It's going to go the distance this fight, I believe, but Israel will win it.
Ross, what about yourself?
Interesting take. Look, first things first. I actually thought Paulo Costa was going to be able to beat Adesanya in the last fight, and boy, was I wrong. So I refuse to ever back against Israel Adesanya ever again. Like you said, Johnboy, his skill set is so unique. His style of kickboxing is next level. It's the elite of the elite in terms of mixed martial arts. And I do think he is going to be too slick to get caught by Jan Blachowicz. I think Jan Blachowicz will land some shots at some stage, but I don't know if he's ever going to land one flush, you know, on the chin. You know, I think he might get him a few times as he's slipping out, and I don't think it'll be enough. And I think Adesanya will win by TKO in the 4th round. One thing I will say is the UFC did a great job in their promo of the fight saying he's fighting a true light heavyweight in this fight, even though Jan Blachowicz came into the UFC at middleweight and had 6 middleweight fights there. So, you know, that man can still make 185 pounds if he really had to. But look, he is the champ at 205. And look, don't underestimate him. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
Looking at Jan, like obviously he's lost to Thiago Santos, he beat Dominic Reyes there for the vacant title. Dominic Reyes should have arguably got the W against John Jones as well. But like Jan as well, looking at it now, he's basically in his prime now. Was he 31? So the two lads are probably the same age now. He's in his prime. He's just after having a kid as well. The UFC put a big spin on that, being like, you know what, this is he wants to create legacy now for his family. So like, Adesanya to win this now against Jan, that would be a massive feather in his cap for someone like you can't disagree that Jan is the champ and like he's in his prime. You know, sometimes people like to run down wins saying, "Oh, he's out of his prime. Oh, who's he beat? Yada yada yada." But like, in saying that, I do believe Adesanya is just on a different level. He's playing in the Matrix, and he's playing this game in the Matrix, and I can just see the two straps.
Yeah.
I can just say Dana better make sure he has the second belt there. You know what I mean? Unlike the Connor situation, but
yeah.
It was Tyrone Woodley had to give his belt in.
Tyrone Woodley.
Tyrone, give us your belt. Now.
It wasn't cute. What's the Tyrone song now? I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. What's that rap he had?
In fairness, I don't think anyone wants to remember Tyrone Woodley for his rap.
Tyrone Woodley, the Drake of the UFC rap game.
But just to give Jan Blachowicz a fair, you know, rap of the knuckles as well. Like
definitely,
he went in there, he knocked out Luke Rockhold, and he like KO'd him. He was asleep for a week. Then he went and he beat Jacare Souza. He knocked out Corey Anderson, who, you know, he could easily go and win the Bellator light heavyweight title. And he beat Dominic Reyes as well, and he knocked him out, and he gave him a good hiding as well. So look, like he has that power. He's beat some really good guys. He's also beaten the likes of Jimmy Manoa and Nikita Krylov. You know, he is the champ for a reason. I just think, and rightfully so, people are mesmerized by Stylebender, and it's the whole thing. It's the show as well. It's the dance on the way to the ring, the way how smooth he is in there. He's an iconic figure in the sport, and I think when all is said and done, he hangs up his gloves, he'll be one remembered for a very long time.
Well, that's for sure. He's unreal talent, you know. People buy into it, you know. It's that dancing he does, the moving, it's the flashiness, you know. They love it, you know. And he's not over his head. He's not too big headed, so he's a real likable guy, you know.
Yeah, I saw he bought a car from his mom, and that was actually very touching when I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
my
give back.
one knock on that is like, why did you buy her a Porsche? You know what I mean? Like, could have bought her something a bit more subtle.
Yeah, it was like it was like
very easy, very
yeah,
easy.
massive. Yeah, it was massive.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
yeah, so in the comments, let us know who you think's going to win. Is Jan going to defend his title, or is there going to be a new champ in town? Okay, lads, in the co-main event, arguably the GOAT, Amanda Nunez is defending her women's featherweight title against Megan Anderson. John, I asked you first, so I'm going to ask you, Ross, this time. What do you make of this fight for Amanda Nunez? And if she wins this, is she just... What more does she need to do to solidify the GOATness of the GOAT?
Well, Amanda, the Lioness Nunez, is already the GOAT. And I think win, lose, or draw this fight, she'll still be the GOAT. She holds belts in 2 different divisions. No woman has ever done that. And she had also defended 2 belts in 2 different divisions, which no woman has ever done that. And I think it'll be a long time before we do see that happen again. Look, Megan Anderson's the only actual 145 pounder in this in the UFC. And, you know, she was brought in from Invicta to fight for the belt. She then lost her first fight, and then she also lost to Felicia Spencer as well. She lost to Holly Holm, and you know they were waiting for her to string wins together to give her a title shot. She's now strung the wins together.
She now has
2 in a row,
it, yes.
and now she's going in there. And look, I think Megan Anderson's a very good fighter. She was unfortunately on the end of a bit of a verbal bashing from, I think it was Sean O'Malley.
No, it was Sean O'Malley's podcast. It was
Sean O'Malley's podcast.
Yeah, I think it was Casey Kenny. Was it?
Okay, yeah, it was actually. He was also fighting on this card, and
he could have a fight with her beforehand. Or Johnboy.
He could do, but look, she's a very, very good fighter. But let's not get it twisted. You know what I mean? Amanda Nunez is a different level. Sometimes I think one of the most overused phrase in MMA is there's levels to this game, because I feel like everyone just says it now. But you're looking at, you know, she knocked out Holly Holm with a head kick. She, you know, won 50-45 against Felicia Spencer. She beat Jermaine Durandamy. She knocked out Chris Cyborg. She knocked out Raquel Pennington. She knocked out Ronda Rousey. She beat Valentina Shevchenko twice. You know what I mean? Like
Misha Tate. UFC 200.
Misha Tate as well at UFC 200. Like she has by far and large the greatest resume in UFC women's history. The only thing I will say is she hasn't got her last 2 opponents out of the octagon, so she has 50 minutes in there in her last 2 fights. But I don't see Megan Anderson going lasting the full 25 minutes this time around. I think Amanda Nunez will want to get in there. I think she'll take her back and rear naked choke.
Johnboy, what about yourself?
She's the GOAT, you know. Training alongside her there, you know, you can hear the thuds of her, the way she trains, you know. You know, the gym stops kind of when she trains, you know. She's amazing to watch, and I've seen some of her sparring and all, you know. I can't even see us let it last, and it won't go 2 or 3 rounds, you know. It doesn't matter how tough you are. It's her relentless work as well, the way she sets it. She's a beast. She's a monster, like, you know. She's the first, you wouldn't want to mess her around, that's for sure, you know. Yeah.
Johnboy, I know people said about Ronda Rousey, but you've seen Amanda Nunez training in person with your little stint out now over in Miami. How would Amanda Nunez do against a male fighter?
She definitely hold her own. She's strong. Like even the Russian boys call her the horse. The horse, they go horse. You know, she's so strong. But
in Dublin we say "how are you horse," and that means something totally different.
The couple.
She's a monster. You know. Maybe I'd love to see the Valentina fight, third fight. One of them fights was the closest fight ever. You know, it's the only one really there that I can see her giving bother because of her speed and her striking. You know, but other than that, I can't see anybody else really close there. You know, so can.
And Basmo.
Yeah, no, I just agreeing there. I was like, after this, she sort of ticked the box off, unless she wants to do a second lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Valentina Shevchenko fight, that's something that like Valentina, you must appreciate Valentina's striking. Like that's
Yeah.
sensational stuff. Like that, I'd love to see a trilogy of that.
She's class, you know, she's very balanced, good moving, you know, it's that fast, you know, she does a lot of Muay Thai, but Muay Thai don't really work for UFC, but her Muay Thai striking's perfect. She moves
Yeah.
fast in her feet, you know.
Perfect. How
So
often would you say someone's striking was perfect?
She not often, but I love her strike. You know, she's elusive. She's balanced. I pick this up a lot. Like I see guys like throwing shots off balance now, and you know straight away if they move a lot, they haven't got power. You know, but the way she stands upright, you know, balance. It's like walking into her shots, like walking into a wall because she's just stuck. You know, balance, timing's perfect. You know, she's class to watch. You know, she is.
Yeah, she's unreal. So I'm gonna go for Amanda Nunes as well. I just watching her in the countdown video, the way she was like holding the baby in the sort of snug thing. I was just like, she's not letting any woman take anything from her. You know, I mean, she's a pure savage.
No, and she has a little baby every day in the gym, you know, and her girlfriend or something. She's holding it, watching them sparring. Oh, it's crazy to watch, you know. So
Yeah, that's Nina Ansaroff, who's also a UFC fighter as well. So, like, you know what I mean, like it runs in the blood. What's called over there. So,
I don't even pay no heed to that. I just boys tell me, that's her girlfriend. I don't even pick up on that. You know, that's who that is. You know.
Yeah. So, like, you know what I mean? As Basmo said, no one's taking bread off her table anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No one even wants to.
No, nobody wants it.
Nobody wants to. No, don't fight the horse. The horse bites. Right, lads. Then obviously. There is a bantamweight on the line. Johnboy will be ringside, literally. Peter Yan's taking on Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title. I know, obviously, we discussed a bit of it beforehand, but Johnboy can't give us away too many stuff because we all know Matt Serra will be snooping around here. But Ross, what do you make of this? And like, what do you expect, man? This is going to be fireworks, man.
I think for the first time in a very, very long time, we are seeing the number one ranked contender fight the champion. And I think when Henry Cejudo won that belt and then left it vacant, there was a bit of a mix and there was a bit of a, you know, a hoorah. There was like Aldo, there was obviously Jan, there was Sterling, there was Sandhagen, there was Marias, and we were trying to find out who the best 135 pounder on the planet was. And so far, no one's been able to beat Peter Yan. And I don't know if anyone of those 135 pounders can. When you look at Peter Yan at first, he doesn't actually look like this incredible physical specimen. But once that fella gets going and once the fight starts, there's no stopping him. He is there from, as I say, from bell to bell, and he is relentless. And I don't think Aljamain Sterling striking is at a high enough level to stop Peter Yan from being able to put it on him. And I do think Peter Yan's takedown defense is good enough to stop Aljamain Sterling getting us back.
Do you disagree?
You nail it in the head, you know. So, as I say, this is going to be the best Peter Yan you'll ever see, guys. And he's so switched on, you know, controlled, discipline. I believe he's going to hurt Aljamain in a bad way. We get past them kicks, you know. I believe his first round will be his best. You know, you're going to come out fast, starting throwing kicks. You know, he's going to throw a lot of kicks, you know. It'll be getting in Peter's head, like, trying to think that he's going to keep shooting and shooting, you know. He's been posting, like, videos of bad sparring and all this here, you know, but, you know, that's to invite Peter on and say, you're going to see a controlled Peter Yan here, you know. He's going to be in his face. It's going to be the longest night of his life here, especially when he gets hit. He's going to be on the shell mode. He's going to be running and covering and shooting and leaving himself open, you know.
Yeah, one thing I will say also, Jan, is he's very smart about it. He leaves about 4, 5, 6 months in between fights. I think this is going to be one of his longest time ever since he's been in the UFC to defend his title. Obviously with COVID and stuff like that, and with him training out in Thailand or being in Russia, travel restrictions are probably a bit harder for him. It's a bit more of a, you know, what did I say? A logistical nightmare probably for him at times. But you know what I mean, like he comes prepared and he comes ready. I mean, I think he's right to take that time off in between fights, especially after a war like an Aldo fight.
Yeah. And you just nailed that. This guy is getting even smarter. The hardest thing with Peter Yan, even when I was in Thailand, we'd say to him, "Look, Peter, tomorrow rest day, recover." Next thing you'd look is way up running like big Buddha mountain, like in 30 degrees heat. Like them, you'd need to tie him to the bed to rest. It's just like phenomenal the way he trains. It could be in the gym first thing in the morning and last at night, and that's the way it was for a long time. Peter Yan is starting to learn now. He's listening, he's like, "Peter, please rest." And he'll take the day off and he'll recover. And this camp, touch wood, not an injury, came fresh. And I mean, in sparring, we've had 3 different guys. I'm not going to mention no names, like high level guys, and sparring them 2.5 minutes each, for 5 rounds. And guys have been getting carried out. Like they've been trying the wrong game plan with Peter, I know sparring, but the guy is fresh and strong. He's not overtrained. Whereas before in his earlier career, sometimes that man could have been leaving the best of him in the gym. Even like the likes of Riviera, we're fighting Riviera. We said, "Peter, rest." He goes, "I'm gonna go for a swimming for his rest," and he went out and swam, got stung by a jellyfish, one of them box jellyfish in Thailand. Nobody knows that man was sick as a dog fighting Riviera. This is the only camp that we haven't had an injury, touch wood, So this is why we're so excited. You're going to see the best Peter Yan here.
What's it like coaching Peter and just having that mindset? Like it must be like a coach's dream.
Peter's great, and it's funny now is like his English is good, The Russian and the Irish really get on. We're similar the way we think, and it's really good with Peter. Me and him share the room every camp we go together. It's great. Some of the old guys they snoring on me, and I'm like 2 mouses. Well, I think we are, anyways. So we get on good with the same mindset. With similar backgrounds. We know like on fight week what worked for us and what we didn't like to hear and stuff, because people can come to fight camp, start speaking about this, on fight week, and you don't want to hear them things, makes your brain go overload. So it's great. We click with similar styles, and we know it works,
I've a question on ATT for you, John. Obviously, you took flight from Thailand, came to Miami for a while. They have some world class fighters there. They have Jorge Masvidal, Dustin Poirier, Amanda Nunez. I think Ioanni and Jacek's trained there. Like some real world class talent. What did you take away from your time at ATT? And is there anything that you'll bring back to Thailand, that you thought that they do very well there?
Peter and I will tell you this himself, until you go to Thailand, you won't experience the way they train there. Thailand is hard to beat, ATT was perfect for this camp, as you named it there, like the talent for sparring is top level, in Tiger at the minute, 15-day quarantine, we can't get no guys to spar, What I have to say about ATT is the ground game. It's like every gym's got their own ways, Tiger Muay Thai is known for being a striking gym, really, when you see the likes of Valentina and Peter and all them guys. You go to ATT, it's more like a ground game gym, you know what I mean? You got some great guys on the ground there, it's so we've took bits away from that, There's one coach, I don't never say much about coaches, or if I don't, but there's one coach I really love working with in ATT. Is Perumpa. He's a Brazilian guy, he's been great there, his ground game's perfect. So me and him's worked together for this fight, is up there, his ground games and all is his top level. When it goes to the ground, I can let him take over, when it comes up, he can let me take over, It's great to have that extra person beside me, So it is. So it's been perfect for that.
Yeah, I did actually see Dan Lambert as well say that it was great to have Peter over in the gym as well, and for the fighters around there to see his championship mindset and the way he did his preparation. He also said he's one of the first ones there in the morning and one of the last ones to leave at night. So for any young fighters out there listening, take a note out of Peter Yan's book, but also listen to your coach. And when they tell you to take the rest day, take the rest day. Just don't get stung by a jellyfish on the way.
That's funny you saying that. Did you learn anything? But we noticed when we were training, they were all watching us. But it's funny how it goes in circles, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, well, I think there's a bit of starstruckness. You know what I mean? You're like, even the biggest stars are like, Jesus. You sort of want to see. You want to get that insight to why is he the best in the world at what he does.
Yeah.
It's not every day the champ walks in, And Johnboy, they're probably like, whoa, I think I saw him Buncrana before.
I could have worked with a couple of guys over there. There was a couple of high-level guys that were going, any chance we get some work on? But, me personally, I would have loved to work on, say, yeah, I worked on. I was there for Peter, and I said, look, Peter, I'm here for you. I'm not here for these guys, So we just stuck to our guns there. But I'll probably go now back to Thailand and go, geez, I wish I had done this or that, But I'm here for Peter,
Yeah, you could add Masvidal to your roster.
You know what? I'd say he's a sound guy. Like, and I seen a couple of little tweaks that like, I'd love to get a session with him. But as I say, you could, no problem. But we're there for Peter. He's a cool guy, Masvidal.
Yeah, Street Jesus.
Yeah, Street Jesus. so humble, so he is.
What happens at the end? And if I'm going to bet on it, and as I think we're all agreeing, we're all betting on the 3 winners. But what happens at the end when Peter gets the mic? Does he get what's his name here? Magomedov to rip up his Bellator contract and come to the UFC and complete the trilogy, or what's he say? I can't wait to get back to Thailand, or like Johnboy sings the song. Like what's going to come out of his lips?
He's gonna grab the mic with the best accent you ever heard, the Irish Donegaling. No, he's gonna grab the mic, and I know what's coming out of his mouth. He's gonna go, "Hey, where's that drug sheet at?" And he's gonna go, "Hey, no chance, any one of these guys can get it." So he is gonna be active this year. Hopefully June he'll be out again. Touch wood, no injuries and stuff. But he wants to make a statement here.
If you were to line up the next 3 fights for Peter in any order, what's the dream for you?
For me, I know him personally. He wants TJ first. For me, I want Cody Garbrandt straight away from him. I think styles make fight. 2 good guys. His chin will let him down with Peter when he gets hit.
100%.
And it's a great fight. He seems to be back up there now. He seems to be loving the training and all. And
what's your take on his boxing, actually? Because he's known for being one of the best boxers in the UFC.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I want him. I want to prove that Peter is the best there in the UFC and that bantamweight. This is the fight for me. I want, and I see openings on him. I would love that fight more than any other fight.
Okay, so Cody Garbrandt's 1.
Yeah,
TJ's
Peter,
2. Sorry, you said TJ's 2.
Yeah, he's gonna go for TJ. Another hard fight, another strike mixed fight. It's quality fights there. Who else would be there?
What about a return of Henry Cejudo?
Yeah, I would love that. I can't see him coming. I would love that as well. But I can't see him coming back. Who knows?
You know he's going to tweet out after the fight and leave it there lingering. He after every bantamweight fight, he likes to let them know that he left with the belt. But at the end of the day, if he wants
to come and get it, he can come and get it. We'd be happy to fight him. As well. It's a big name to wipe out. So
there you go, Henry. The King of Cringe has been called.
But I would love Marlon Moraes too, even though that's gone down now after last fight. But if he ever builds back up, Moraes, we were training for Moraes. I think it would really hurt him in a bad way as well. So,
what about Corey Sandhagen after that vicious knee knockout over Frankie Edgar?
Yeah, you can't rule him out. Tricky fight, for me being a stand-up striking kind of a background. For me, it's a bit of a horrible more fight, but that's going to be here with Aljamain and all, I'm calling out all the stand-up guys here, So
yeah, I do look at Sandhagen and think he's so awkward. There's just something about him.
So tall.
You sort of look at him and you go, "What's he really good at?" And they're like, "I don't really know, but he's probably going to win one way or the other against most guys now." You know what I mean?
And for Peter, it's because he's up there now, but he ain't the biggest name yet. There's more big money and like Cody and TJ, it's more of a risk situation with Cody, even though I think he'll destroy him, but he's going for the bigger names now, it's all about the money and everything now, the media,
And talk about talking your way into a title fight as well. There is one man on the card, and if there's one man on the card who could talk way into the title fight, what about Dominic Cruz?
Yeah, Dominic Cruz, he's there. He's on the card as well. We haven't seen him yet, that's another guy up there, another fast on his feet, moving. I would love that fight too. I think he's just past it now, and Peter's the youth, the speed, and the power,
Yeah, but if you want to build that name recognition there, it's not a bad name to get in there.
It's not a bad name. That's the names you want, them high top guys, straight away.
John, would you say the bantamweight division is possibly the most talented division in all of the UFC?
Definitely, it's on fire at the minute. It's the smaller, faster guys. They're always good to watch. So all the divisions are on fire. I love boxing, but watching that Canelo fight the other night, I just not about wonder. Everybody doesn't watch the boxing now. It's like UFC, you're getting 50-50 fights, entertainment fights. People stand up to watch Canelo now, and you think UFC is just taking over, isn't it?
Yeah, I saw you post that, and I couldn't agree anymore. As much as you want to be fair to the lads who do box, and you want to make it seem like there is a possibility they could lose, or it's always stacked in someone else's favor. It's disappointing to see, but that's why everyone wants Fury against Joshua.
That's kind of fight for a while there with the COVID happening back in Ireland. Eddie Hearn had on the Guardian shows. No, they were brilliant because they were getting offered fights, and they're like, yeah, look, it's a 50-50 fight. You don't sell tickets. You have to fight to get the win, and they were good shows. People watched that. But now, the restrictions is easing up again, especially there, in Miami. You got people coming back to watch some big shows, and they're watching guys are bringing and they get slaughtered. You know what I mean? It's not what good. It's bad luck for boxing.
John, what would you think if Eddie Hearn kept the back garden going and made that his Eddie Hearn's contender series? He brought guys in on Wednesday night and did a boxing. I actually think that would work. That I love the back garden setting.
Yeah, I rate Eddie Hearn. I like him. He even says, "Look, I'm taking a leaf out of Dana White's book here." And so he is. I like Eddie Hearn. He's got that positive mindset, and he goes, "Yeah, we got to do what the UFC is doing here." So he's offering the contract to his fighters and go, "Look, take it or leave it. It's up to you. You want to be on the big stage? You got to fight for these, right? For your right, and that's what's happening here. It's all 50-50 fights, and it's good to watch,
I'm going to run through 4 or 5 really quick fights for you, John, in the boxing and ask you who's going to win. Right. And I want quick answers. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with the main one. Fury versus Joshua.
Fury. Straight away. Boxes is
agreed,
here and all day.
Okay. Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders.
I love Billy Joe, but Canelo too strong. Late round savage.
What about Katie Taylor versus Clarissa Shields?
No, great fight. Katie Taylor, the best ever.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Facts.
And then what about Javonte Davis versus Ryan Garcia?
Oh, Javonte Davis, I like him. Garcia, I don't like him one, but so
and then the biggest one of all, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren.
Get out properly.
I hope that Jake Paul gets smashed. I hate him,
He's causing a ruckus. It's actually funnier if he wins. It's more interesting if he wins rather than he loses to Ben Askren. So the saga continues,
I know everybody hates him now, don't they? But fair play to him. Look at him; he's doing great, isn't he? He's a multi-millionaire now, isn't he? No.
And then John, obviously Ireland's got some fantastic talents up and coming. You have the McKenna brothers, you have Dylan Moore, and you have the guys out like Tiernan Bradley and Tony Brown out of O'Rourke's gym. Do you still have your ear to the ground on the up and coming Irish boxing scene? And is there anyone who you think we should look out for?
Yeah, well, so young James Purr just flew out to me, a young guy from Cork, he's 5-0. So I'm going to help him over there. As I say, I love boxing. I will help any Irish guy. See, the first Irishman that comes to Thailand, like, I always go out of my way for them, and they always laugh at me and Tiger, the Hickman brothers and all them. They go, you all Pike. They call me a Pikey. They go, oh, you Pikey fit together now, But it's true, like, because when I went over there, I had nobody to help me, and I always remember that, So I always saying, look out for him. So this young kid wrote to me one day, and as I say, I'm loving the UFC, and I always love boxing. UFC will be the route I always stay there, but I'm going to really help this kid this year. I've got some awful good high-level fights. Well, we're going to build them up. But there's a big promotion in Thailand, and there's, I'd say, an Irish man, Kevin Nunez, up top of the WBC. We're going to go the WBC route with him, try and get him WBC Asia at the end of the year. And they're good shows, TV shows, and it's easy to build this kid in Ireland. As I say, I don't want nothing for it. As a young 19-year-old, I will help the kid a little bit when I'm out there. But as I said to him, my main guys now is like Peter and Muhammad Mikhaev. I have to go to Muhammad and all after this fight too, But between that, I will help him the best I can, And he can come and go to America to his fights or back to Ireland. I've always told him that,
Yeah, shout out to James. You're Ireland's youngest ever pro boxer as well. Here, lads, just before we wrap up the UFC 259 card, I want you to both just pick one more fight each for the people to look out for, or that you're most excited for. So, John, I'll let you go first.
For me, anyway, there's got to be Jan and Sterling. That's the one I'm excited for. And the heavyweight, I can't wait to see that one, again.
Ross, any other ones, obviously, to look out for?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see Islam Makhachev fight Drew Dober. I just want to see. I feel like Islam Makhachev, if he wins this one, he'll get one more big fight. And I feel like, DC has come out and said it. He goes, if someone could beat Islam Makhachev, that could be the route to get Khabib Nurmagomedov back out of retirement. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Islam's massive talent. So I am looking forward to seeing him. And I feel like it's been quite a while since we have seen him in the last fight.
Yeah, he's quality, that guy. I was in the Apex or the PI the overnight with all them guys. It was funny, and they're all up chatting with Peter and all, and he goes, where's this guy from? London? And I go, no, Ireland. He goes, come on outside. He said, I'm taking you out in the back, joking about Conor McGregor and all,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm okay about it. It is. So,
you wouldn't want to bunk around a bang, that fella.
No. Hit and run, maybe.
Yeah, well, that fella, he'd start with your toes and work his way up your leg, and then you'd have all your orifices trapped behind your body.
Yeah, that's true.
What about you, Basmo?
Yeah,
give us a fight there.
Another fight I'm dying to see is the one that opens up the main card in the light heavyweight division. Thiago Santos is fighting Alexander Rakic. I'm just expecting that as well. But then, lads, let's not even mess around here. Like, even the prelims were unbelievable. Like, Dominic Cruz is going to be fighting on that. Song Yadong's on the prelims. Joseph Benavidez as well. Koi Kara-France are like, it's just, the card is absolutely stacked. This is something we're definitely looking forward to, especially after the card that's after we're coming off from last week. It didn't really live up to the hype, or UFC 258 wasn't unbelievable. But I mean, like, this, for people paying for it, this is going to be well worth your cash. Exactly. Yeah. But lads, before we we sort of went over everything there, with Johnboy's rise to become the coach of the champ. But John, just one last question for me. Do you just feel like you're at the beginning of your journey now as a coach, or whereabouts are you?
Yeah, I believe I'm my life's around coaching now. As I say, the first year I was still a bit fighting and coaching. All I do is study fights now, and it's just full-time job. Nights, people think, oh, it's great, he's coaching this guy. Many sleepless nights, you're up, I woken up, Peter asked me, I woken up one morning, 2:00 in the morning. I had this vision, what shot I was going to knock a fighter out. I was up, I had to write it down. I said, Peter, this shot's going to work, And we drilled through it, and we pulled it off in sparring and everything. It's crazy. My mind goes in overload at night time. I'll be like, yeah, and I have to jot it down.
They call him Mystic Coach. He predicts these things.
No,
Well,
it's great to see. It's great to see how much you're
love
loving it as well. It's great. It's great to see.
Yeah.
And you know what?
It's
It's so good to have another Irish person, what's called, you know, in the UFC ranks, and we actually tell everyone about you. We're like,
great.
anytime Peter Yan comes up, it's like, did you know?
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so
yeah.
true.
And like people are
That's
like, no way, because we actually have Megan O'Leary on our show. We were telling her about it, and we had Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson on our show, and we were telling them about it as well.
You're going viral. You're going viral.
Yeah.
But like John, obviously you have to like coach the champ, you know, and you're like we want to thank you very much for coming on the show. We want to thank
Not a
everyone for
problem,
like
guys.
checking out the show. Obviously, we're going to be in contact again, you know. Like who knows if the like who knows? Who really knows? But like all the best this weekend. Ross, anything else to say before we wrap things up?
No, John. Obviously, very best of luck this weekend. Big fight, bring home the belt. And if we are ever heading to Phuket, Thailand, you'll be our first port of call, and we'll text you on Sunday morning to say congratulations. For those who are watching at home, thank you very, very much for.
Yeah,
all
make
your
sure to
kind
follow John
words.
as well. All that sort of
Yeah.
stuff as well.
Oh yeah, well he'd be relentlessly tagged on Instagram, so it won't be hard. It won't be hard.
Yeah.
But guys, thanks a million for all your kind words on the UFC 259 countdown video. It was an absolute honor to be part of that. And if you are new from there, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized.